Hello everyone and welcome to class once again. I am Temi Olajide Arishe, your facilitator for BUS818 Rewards and Compensation Management. So you're welcome once again to class. This is lesson 4 and for today we are going to be talking about job evaluation. So the topics to be covered for this lesson, the topics to be covered in lesson 4 are job evaluation, characteristics and objectives. And then we're also going to be talking about types of job evaluation and lastly, performance management. So our lesson objective as follows. You should be able to describe job evaluation, its characteristics and objective, and you should be able to explain types of job evaluation. And lastly, you should be able to discuss performance management. So let's start with what job evaluation is all about. So who understands what job evaluation is? And this is something that most of us are conversant with, and but basically might not actually take it as job evaluation. And so our definition of job evaluation on our slides here is job evaluation basically is a systematic process of defining the relative worth or size of jobs within an organization in order to establish internal relative. So basically, I'm just going to briefly let you understand the meaning of what job evaluation is all about. And job evaluation basically has to do basically with evaluating a particular job in terms of the pay structure and also the grade. So it's what job evaluation actually entails. Just a minute, please. Okay. So basically, what job evaluation actually entails is making sure that the pay structure is actually confirmed to that particular job. So for instance, now in our organizations, in the different place we work, we have different grade levels. We have different job types. We have different responsibilities and all that. So you can find some people earning more than others in a particular organization. And this is where job evaluation comes in, because basically those jobs are evaluated to actually see if the pay structure is commensurate to the particular job, each person is actually doing. For instance, now, if Okay, so sorry for that interruption. So basically, so job evaluation, like I earlier said, what job evaluation actually has to do is trying as much as possible to differentiate, the pay structure of an organization as to what the employee gets what when he or she, is being employed in that organization. So I used an example of you working in an organization, for instance, and you have like, let's say the organization is a federal government organization whereby you have so many disciplines. You have the doctors, you have nurses, you have pharmacists, you have auditors, accountants, HR personnel, and everybody inclusive in that organization, in which most big organizations or parastatal have. Obviously, most of the time, what doctors actually receive as pay, will not be the same thing as what the accountants and, other disciplines, other people in various disciplines will get with them. Because number one, if you look at what doctors do, they actually save lives, and the amount of time they spend in school is usually a lot. And if you look at if you evaluate, their job responsibilities, it's more taxing than other disciplines. So whoever is evaluating this, whoever is evaluating this job would also have, to put in all those factors to say, these people, their job is very taxing and they need to be paid this. They need to be paid higher because this is what their job entails. These ones, they still have to go home and all that stuff. Their job is not as risky as this and all that stuff. So that is evaluation of jobs. So to be able to see if it's commensurate with that particular, pay structure or that pay grade or that grade, that he or she is being employed to do. So basically, that's an example of what job evaluation is all about. So we also have characteristics of job evaluation. And basically in our slides here and also in our course material, we have 4 basic characteristics of job evaluation. The first one we have here is based on factual evidence. When you say based on factual evidence, when you say something is factual, it's something that it's a fact. For instance, now the jobs of doctors are, are more taxing. They are more, they are very rigorous. They put their life online and all those stuff. So it's a fact. So you cannot come to say, oh, they don't do much and all that stuff. You don't know that fact that they don't do much. This is what everybody knows, that this is what doctors do. And it's a fact that, they do more. They work around the clock 24/7 to make sure that lives are being saved. So it's a fact. So obviously, one of those characteristics is making sure that that evidence, of the pay structure or the grade is actually a fact, that people can see that, oh yes, this is actually true about this thing. So they are not being cheated, it's commensurate to the job they are doing. Whatever pay they are being given is actually commensurate to what they do. So based on factual evidence, and people will not come and say, oh, he does little work and he's getting big pay. Where is the fact that he does little work? And so for doctors, it is a fact that they do big work and also get big pay. So these are, one of the characteristics, that factual evidence, that fact to say that, yes, this is what these people did do, rather, and this is what they're expected to get. So, you need that factual evidence based on the facts, or even maybe there's a team, of there's a team or a committee that's been set up, to try and evaluate or try and actually deliberate on the pay structure. So they will need all this factual evidence to be able to, give their judgment on why this thing should be so, or why these people's payment should be more, or why these people's payment should be less, or why this grade should be upper. So that factual evidence is also, a characteristic of job evaluation. So we move on to the second characteristic, which is judgmental. And basically, judgmental actually has to do with human judgments. You understand? It's also based on factual evidence, but judgmental basically would actually go a long way in terms of actually analyzing that fact, so to say. So it's it's a process rather, because once the fact has been when there's an evidence, once it's clear that this is what is supposed to be, then the judgment, the human judgment will come into place to say, okay, the information provided about this job, is it clear that this set of people should be under this pay structure? Do you understand? So that human judgment also, it's also a characteristic when trying to, analyze job evaluation. So that's, they need that fundamental judgment, to come to say, okay, this information we've gotten now, based on what we are saying now, the committee now, we want us to deliberate what are your judgments? What do you feel, should be the pay structure, of this set of doctors, or this set of accountants, or this set of auditors, and the rest of it. So that's to say, that's the second characteristics of job evaluation. And the third one we have here is concerned with internal relativities. And when we talk about internal relativities, we have a write-up in our course material here, which says, when used within an organization, job evaluation in the true sense as defined above can only assess the relative size of jobs in that organization. It is not concerned with external relative, that is the relationship between the rates of pay of jobs in the organization and the rates of pay of comparable job elsewhere. So normally, when you are evaluating your job, it's usually concerned with the internal evaluation, the internal resources of what the organization has to offer, not external. Do you understand? Yes, sometimes it's always good to compare and construct what you have outside so that you'll be able to balance, what you have inside also. So it's usually concerned with that internal relative in the aspects of the size of the job. There are some jobs that outside they might have so much doing, and it's still the same job description and everything. And while in that another company, it might be relatively low, the responsibilities might not be high as the other company. So you cannot say because of that, then because of you feel that, this is what they are paying some specific people, that's what you will pay your people, because obviously maybe that person might just be coming twice in a week. So you need to be able to judge, or you need to be able to be concerned with the internal resources you have before drawing out that pay structure for whoever you apply, whoever you are employing for that particular job. And the fourth one we have here is concerned with the job, not the person. So basically, another characteristic here is you need to be concerned with the job, not the person. And I think a lot of organizations usually miss this. They are always concerned about the person. For instance, now, before you apply for a job, obviously you see the job responsibilities and the functions and whatever you will be doing. Do you understand? And if your criteria actually meets up with those responsibilities, obviously you are good to go to employ. And most organizations, they don't meet you before they call you for interviews. What they do is just to go through your CV. Okay, this person has what it takes. This person is qualified for this certain role and all that stuff. So they are more concerned with the job. Is this person going to deliver? So what are the person's roles? What are the person's responsibilities? What do we expect from the person? Do you understand? So it's more of the job and not the person. So in our course material, The write-up here actually says that the performance of individual in the job must not be taken into account, but it should be noted that while performance is excluded in today's more flexible organizations, the tendency is for some people, especially knowledge workers, to have flexible roles. Individual may have the scope to enlarge or enrich their roles, and this needs to be taken into account when evaluating what they do. So that's what I said initially. So it depends on, the organization's resources. So you cannot compare external activities with your own internal activities. You need to be able to structure or confirm whatever you need to do in regards to pay structure to what the job responsibility you are giving one. So I think we've come to the end of the characteristics. So we move on to okay, so let me actually reshare my screen again. So we move on to the objectives of job evaluation. So under the one of the objectives, we have produce information. So here, they produce information required to design and maintain equitable and defensible grade and pay structure. So it's very vital for organizations, to actually, especially the people in charge of the employment, which usually is the HR department, that's the human resources department. So they actually, produce information as regards, the design and and also, a defensible grade and pay structure. That means to say that, this is the grade level that we need to put this person. Maybe according to his CV, he doesn't really have much experience. So on our part, we feel that we should put this person on this grade level and we should put him on this, salary structure. So that's one of the objectives of job evaluation. It creates that information, required to design and maintain that equitable grade and pay structure. And secondly, another one we will be looking at is just a minute, please. Another one we'll be looking at be transparent. So another objective here is transparent. So the basis upon which grades are defined and jobs graded should be clear. That means every aspect, of the job evaluation in respect to job responsibilities, the pay structure and grade structure should be clear. You understand? There shouldn't be anything hidden. Everything should be transparent. This is why we are putting you on this level or on this pay structure, because you don't really have much experience or what we are looking for, or we are putting you above because we feel you have more experience and so it should be clear, it should not be hidden, and there should not be any hidden charge, or maybe because I know you or I'll put you on this level and you are not how would I put it, you are not highly conversant, or you are not you really don't know much about that role, and they are putting you based on relationship. So it shouldn't be that. So it has to be clear and transparent. Then another objective we have here is to ensure the organization meets equal pay. Yes, equal pay. So if you are in an organization and basically you have colleagues, and I know some organizations do that, they would ask you to come and actually, will I call it, bid or negotiate, and if you know how to negotiate based on your quality, based on, your qualification, and based on the years of experience, you can get higher than others that you even came together or you have the same thing. So it depends on the negotiation process, but it's better to always have the same pay structure, like federal government pay structure, they all have, irrespective of where you come, whatever, they all have the same, they have different grades, but, they will need to evaluate it to make sure that nobody is being cheated. So it's always good for private organizations also to adopt such a pay structure so as to meet everybody on an equal pay, structure. So we move on to the types of job evaluation. And basically, we have three main types of job evaluation. And the first one we call the analytical scheme. The second one is non-analytical scheme. And lastly, we have the market pricing. So we are going to move on to that quickly. So let's explain what the analytical job evaluation is. And here it says that analytical job evaluation is the process of making decisions about the value or size of the job, which are based on an analysis of the level at which various defined factors or elements are present in the job in order to establish relative job value. So under the analytical job evaluation, this is when you analyze that particular job. You analyze the value, you analyze the size to say, okay, for instance, now I'm the HR manager in an organization, and the organization is just coming up, or maybe a new role is being, it is a new role is being harnessed, or a new role has just, maybe they just actually created a new unit and they want to fill up that unit. For instance, let me say the technical units. So obviously you are going to have the head of technical, you are going to have the assistant, and you're going to have people that will be working with the heads and all that. And you are asked to create a pay structure for each of those roles. So first and foremost, you need to analyze, the value. Okay, the technical manager, what do you think the role of the technical manager is going to be? Okay, overseeing the whole IT, whatever, support system, doing this, doing that. And the technical manager will have a lot of responsibility, or rather will shoulder a lot of responsibility, because he or she is the manager and is going to be overseeing other ones in terms of technical issues. So you have to evaluate, or you have to analyze the value of what he or she is going to be doing and the size, of the job, to be able to, see, to be able to create that pay structure and see how, you can actually come up with, something that is commensurate to that particular role. So that's what the analytical job evaluation or analytical scheme, is talking about. So they say here that the two main types of analytical evaluation scheme are point factor scheme and analytical factor comparison scheme. So another variety of analytical scheme is factor comparison, but it is not used except by independent experts in equal pay case and as a base for the Hay guide charts. So I think what I would actually advise to employ you guys to do is to try as much as possible to go and research on these two types of analytical evaluation scheme, which is point factor scheme and factor comparison scheme, so that you can have, a broader knowledge or a broader view of what these two are talking about. So we move on to the second type of job evaluation, and this is non-analytical job evaluation. And non-analytical job evaluation compares whole jobs to place them in a grade or a rank order. They are not analyzed by references to their element of factors. Non-analytical schemes do not meet the requirement of equal value law. They operate either on a job-to-job basis, in which a job is compared with another job to decide whether it should be valued more or less or the same. Okay, so this is what non-analytical job evaluation is. This one, they usually do not analyze the job. The jobs are not being analyzed, you understand? It's either is on a job-to-job basis, in which a job is compared with another job to decide. So these ones, they are not looking at anything. What they are looking at here is they will compare it with maybe an outside job or another organization that does something similar. You understand? This one is now not going to be based on the company's HR looking at the responsibilities and all that, of which they will do. But it's not like the analytical scheme whereby the size, the value, and all that should be analyzed. This one is just they are just being judgments based, it's a job to scale based in which judgments are made by comparing a whole job with a defined hierarchy of job. So you feel that, okay, manager in this company, this is how much the structure they give their technical manager. Okay, let's adopt it and all that stuff. So your internal HR, is not going through so much rigor. They just found out that this is what these other people are doing. So they base it on a job to job they compare it on other jobs to see how they can actually base their own structure on. So that's what the non-analytical job evaluation is talking about. Then we have market pricing, and market pricing is the process of assessing rates of pay by reference to the market rates for comparable job. It can be described as external benchmarking. Generally, organizations have to use some methods of valuing jobs that ensures that their pay system is externally competitive or internally equitable. Every time a decision is made on what a job should be paid, it requires the use of either job evaluation or market pricing. So basically, this market pricing basically is another type of job evaluation. For this one, you would actually go out there. It's actually a form of external benchmarking. You as an HR manager or whatever, you have to actually go out there to see what others are being paid for that particular role. You need to hire somebody in your organization. So you have to price the market. You need to see and evaluate other organizations and compare them with whatever you want to pay them. So this is actually benchmarking. You need to go there. So marketing price is in a sense realistic and is not bureaucratic or time consuming as a conventional form of job evaluation is. So going out there, you are trying to see, what others in the market, in the same market as you are offering other people. So you people are in the same range. So even if your employer or your employee wants to move, it's still the same thing. Do you understand? So that is what market pricing is. And that is the last main type of job evaluation. So just a moment. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of types of job evaluation, and now we are going to move on to performance management. Okay, so we move on to performance management. So we are going to be talking about performance management. So what do you think performance management is? And how would you relate performance management, to your organization? And let me just give a brief definition of what performance management is all about. Then, we can now discuss as relates to your organization. So performance management is a strategic and integrated process that delivers sustained success to organization by improving the performance of the people who work in them and by developing the capabilities of individual contributors and teams. But that's what performance management is actually talking about. Every organization, and I repeat, would always want to see, the success of the employees, and also making sure that organizational goals and objectives are being met. Without performance managers, obviously, or sorry, rather performance management, all these cannot, be achieved. So if employees are not in a conducive environment, or if maybe security issues and the rest of it, you find out that the performance of these people will not be commensurate, or will not be achieved, in respect to organizational goals and objectives. So it's the duty of every organization, rather, to make sure that employees, are being. Okay, I wait. So, like I earlier said, so basically that's what performance management is all about. Try and see, how you can improve the organization, and also the people that actually work in that organization, by improving their career by improving their skills, in terms of training and development, in terms of feedback after a performance appraisal has been done and the rest of that. So basically, that's what performance management is talking about. So next, we'll be talking about two types of, basically, we have next, sorry. Yes. Next, we are going to, be talking about performance appraisal integration. And when we mean performance appraisal integration, we are talking about, when we talk about performance appraisal integration, we are talking about the way in which performance appraisal, can actually be looked into. For instance, we have the vertical integration and the horizontal integration. The vertical integration actually talks about linking or aligning business, team, and individual objectives and core competencies. That's what the vertical integration is talking about. So in this type of integration, which they try as much as possible to align, organizational goals, objectives, with that of the employees and also organization, to make sure that everybody is speaking in one language, or rather speaking in one voice, and everybody is actually in good terms, conforming to the organization's mission and vision in order to achieve the goals and objectives. That's what the vertical integration is talking about. While the horizontal integration is talking about linking different aspects of human resource management. So for this, you are linking rewards, compensation, training and development, whatever needs to be done to employees for them to actually how would I put it, for for them to still be in that organization. Do you understand? So you are linking all their everything that has to do with the employee training and development, performance appraisal, compensation, rewards, fringe benefits, and the likes of it. So that's what the horizontal integration, is actually talking about. This actually deals with, the employees and what they need to have in order for them to actually formalize themselves, in that organization. So basically, those are the two integrations under performance management. So I think basically we've come to the end of this lesson 4, which is job evaluation, the types of job evaluation and performance management. So I'm sure you guys have been able to learn or understand what job evaluation is, the characteristics and objective, the types of job evaluation, and lastly, performance management. So just in case you have any question, you can send me an email at temirima@yahoo.com. So I'll be expecting to hear from you. So we see you next week, hopefully by God's grace. It's bye for now, and see you at the top. Bye.